My name is Levi and I'm 9 years old. I like playing sports, soccer and basketball. I like playing soccer because I like when I receive the ball, and I also like when it's the end of the game and you're really trying to score goals.
When I was pregnant with Levi, it was a normal pregnancy, a normal birth.
Levi had a stroke in utero, probably near the end of his term. And we didn't find out about it until he was around 10 weeks old, I think is when we suspected, and it was confirmed at around 5 months.
What does this mean, and what do we need to do to kind of mitigate the impact it is going to have on him?
Early on, we had no idea how impacted he was going to be. The specialists that we showed the MRI to all confirmed that they believed he would have motor impact but would not have cognitive impact.
I wonder if I had a normal right hand or right leg and I was like normal and I could do stuff equally with my right and left hand. But I have this thing where I can't do that much.
Well, I think 98% of the time, he's just like a normal brother and a normal kid, but then the 2% of the time, it's harder for him.
Soccer has been amazing for Levi. He's stronger, he's confident.
He wants to be part of the crew of boys that gets to school early and plays soccer at recess, plays soccer when he gets home, plays soccer when his friends come over.
When he was growing up and walking, he could hardly walk down the sidewalk and not trip and fall. And one day we took a walk in the woods and we were walking home and it was just Levi and I, and out of nowhere he said, "Papa, I know I'm gonna be the worst person on the team, but I'd really like to play soccer. Can you let me play soccer?" And I was like, "Sure, why would I decide that you can't play soccer? Like, if you wanna play, go for it." And that's how it started. It was his decision. One morning, I was sitting with Erica and we were looking at the Instagram feed for the Paralympic team. I reached out to the US national coach to ask him, are there any camps that we don't know about? Is there any way that our son, who's 9-year-old kid with CP living in New York, that he can participate in soccer for kids with CP? And he wrote back really quickly and he said, "No, there's nothing. It's really unfortunate." Just decided, let's do it. Let's create it. So I convinced Stuart, the head coach for the US national team, to jump on the phone with me, and I made a hard pitch. And he said, "Sounds great, slow down, start local first. Start building something locally. Once you get that going, you'll have some kids who could then go to a camp, and then you can invite other kids, and then you can make this whole thing happen." He said, here's the first step you should make. You should reach out to this guy. He has a son who's 15 who has Hemi, just like your son, and his son's a really great soccer player, and he lives near you. He lives in New Jersey.
My name's Ashley Hammond, a professional soccer coach from Montclair, New Jersey, and I own indoor sports facilities and a soccer club called SDFC and a soccer training company called Sports Domain Academy. Coach and train young people, old people, anybody. My son Shay is 15, so I started coaching him pretty much from when he could first kick a ball. Shay is a disabled athlete. Shay had a stroke when he was a baby, and that obviously has created a number of physical challenges for him. And again, with that in mind, placing him on the right team, putting him in the right environment to succeed was a challenge from very early on, because typically children with the level of disability that he has don't compete, unfortunately, with able-bodied soccer players past a certain point.
The way I almost think of it would be I'm operating two machines when I play with cerebral palsy and Hemi on my left side. My right side is one machine, my left side's another machine. Problem is the left side machine, some gears are broken, it's not as oiled, and just gotta keep working through everything. And it's just a different experience than most other kids would have who are able-bodied.
Emotionally and mentally, Shea doesn't view himself as anything other than just a regular soccer player. We learned a great deal when he came back from his first men's national camp. I was very emotional in a situation where he expressed to me how privileged he felt to be around other people with his situation for the first time in his life. And it just hadn't dawned on us that that was something that would be important to him. Never had we ever had him around or been around other kids who played soccer with CP. And it was hard for me because I cried when I first listened to the way he described his experience in national camp with these. I felt like I'd not necessarily been there for him in that regard. I kind of felt like we'd missed out on some of the things that we might have done for him. So part of this process, part of this program is to try to teach parents like me who have kids like Shea at a younger age and encourage them to be around kids like themselves and have that embrace, if you like, of what they have.
We have a 3-phase plan for creating the CP Soccer US. The first phase is we're gonna actually launch here in New York. We're going to create a team for all kids with CP from little to high school. And I don't know how many people we'll get, but we want all of you. We're gonna figure out transportation, and we're gonna figure out how to subsidize the transportation. That's one of the main reasons that we need to raise money. But we want to get all the kids available to play CP soccer, who are interested in playing CP soccer, to join our team. For all the phases, it's going to be open to boys and girls, and it's going to be kids from, I'd say, as young as 6, as young as they want to play soccer, all the way through to high school. We're then going to start planning for next summer of 2018, to have a camp. That's phase 2. And at that camp, we're going to invite kids from all over the country to come and experience 2 weeks at a sleepaway organization where they're playing soccer and they're hanging out with other kids with CP. We're gonna try to bring in inspirational speakers to explain to them the challenges that they had with their own CP and how they overcame them, and to instill a sense of pride and really try to work through, I think, a lot of the feelings of inadequacy or otherness, and get people just to come to terms with the fact that, yeah, I have a disability and that's okay. Phase 3, we're hoping that the kids from outside the New York area are gonna go home and that their parents are gonna be so excited about what they've learned that we'll be able to give them a roadmap for how to build a local team in their community. We wanna build a team in Chicago, one in Dallas, one in San Francisco, one in St. Louis, all over the country. Have local smaller teams where they practice together and they play together and they get awareness among their community. And then what we'd love to be able to do is have a tournament that happens at the end of this sleepaway camp, where kids can come all in and have just a whole long weekend of CP soccer, of different cities playing against other cities.
So by starting the league for the kids, I think it's crucial, number one, that they realize that they can achieve anything they want. I just think the most important thing is having those kids realize that they belong in the sport, that they belong in other sports too, but they certainly belong in soccer, that they can succeed at this sport, that they can succeed playing at the highest level, and that there is an end goal, the end goal being the national team. I think most people who have children with CP would never dream that those opportunities exist, and I think it's important that we highlight those opportunities so that kids like Shea, like Levi, realize that there's an opportunity for them.
If I played with other kids who had CP, I think it would be a different experience, because they kind of have the feeling of like, oh, I never get past you because like I can't control the ball with both my feet correctly, or like as good as other kids on the team. So I think it would be a different experience.
With me playing on a team when I was younger with CP, I was the bench warmer. I didn't play much, and when you get to a certain age, those kinds of kids, they just get cut from the team. There's no other teams that'll take them. No one wants the kid who can't run. No one wants the kid who can't pass. So if there was a league or camp started for these kids, they could really work past their disabilities, as many others have, and they get the support and help to do so, and they could really become something special.